my name is Judge Crombie. I'm the president of the American Public Works Association, and I'm a senior faculty member at Norwich University in the graduate school. Prior to being on the faculty at Norwich, I was a public works director in an environmental business for 37 years. I served as undersecretary of environmental affairs in Massachusetts and secretary of environmental affairs in Vermont. Over this period of time, I had the opportunity to look at both public works and the environment from really two different lenses. And when I looked at them, was able to look at them together, there was a real realization that it was critical that mankind really try to mimic our natural environment, not only in processes, but in organizational structure. I think one of the greatest challenges today is that many of our organizations are built in blocks and do not integrate varying disciplines. What I found in my work, every time you bring multi-disciplines to the table to solve a problem, you're always going to get a better answer than if you bring one singular discipline to the table. When you think of our environment, it acts in a holistic manner. So if we're really going to be able to manage that environment in the future, we must think like the environment, and human beings must integrate and bring very different ideas to the table to come up with a common practice or way to manage our man-made environment in the future. Too often when we talk about new ideas, we rush to find a checklist where we can check off whether we're sustainable or not. From my perspective, that is not the solution to sustainability. Sustainability comes with culture and it comes with principles. And if you understand principles and culture, you have a far greater opportunity to be successful in sustainability. Probably one of our greatest challenges is to create leaders to manage sustainable practice in the 21st century in many of our agencies and organizations across the country. The two greatest attributes of leaders is leadership, integrity, vision. And without integrity and vision and the ability to take risk, to move the ball forward, we are never going to be able to create a sustainable environment. We must restructure our organizations. We must get out of our boxes, get out of our silos, and create circular organizations. What I mean by circular organizations is that when people come together, they're coming together for the greater good, not for their silo that they work in, but they come together for the common good of the organization. And part of this, it's very important to recognize that individuals that are working together must also be recognized for what they're doing, and knowing that when they work for the greater good, they're going to be evaluated and promoted for this type of work and this type of integration of ideas. In my view, everyone always talks about money, they always talk about technology. From my perspective, those aren't the major issues. The major issues, and this has been cited if you closely read Rachel Carson in Silent Spring, you closely read work in some of the other people that are really studying sustainability, it's really in culture, in principles, and building these new organizations of the future. I think Portland, Oregon is a perfect example. If you sit down and really study what's happened in this community, and then compare it to other communities around the country, you'll find by their integration, their planning, their development, taking risk, and really investing in people, you'll really find the difference of what's really taking place. Back in the 80s, I was the first public works director in Burlington, Vermont, and I worked for a gentleman called Bernie Sanders. Bernie Sanders was the mayor. He's the only socialist mayor in the United States, and today he's a United States senator. While working with him, I never saw him look at one single interest, but the interest of the total community as a whole. And every single investment was the betterment for the overall people in that community. Today, Burlington, much like Portland, is a community that is thriving for the investment in people, the environment, the waterfront, transportation, education, etc. You can go around the country, you look at the great communities and how they're managed, how they're operated, and you will find it comes from great leadership and people that are not afraid to make decisions and are making decisions for the overall society as a whole. That, to me, is the most important thing we can do as Americans today, is set that bar high so that sustainability becomes our #1 priority.